Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going over my March 2026 reading wrap up. I read 15 books, that's right, like a real booktuber. No, I'm just kidding. This was definitely a slower month for me because I only finished about 3 books, which is a bit less than I usually aim for. But honestly, looking at what I did read, I still feel pretty satisfied. It's one of those months where it's not about quantity, but more about the variety and overall experience. Had a mix of epic fantasy, short form science fiction, and a continuation of a space opera series that I'm really starting to love more and more with each installment. So even though the numbers are low, there's still quite a lot to talk about. And as always in these wrap-ups, I'll go from my least favorite to my favorite of the month. Although I should say I didn't dislike any of these. It's more a matter of what worked less versus what worked really well. So let's get into it. And in third place, I have the Dragonbone Chair by Ted Williams. The first in the Memory, Sorrow and Thorn trilogy. This is a book I've been working on for quite a while, and finally finishing it felt even a bit of an achievement in itself. It's a big classic epic fantasy, nearly 1,000 pages, and you really feel its length, especially in the first half. The pacing here is very slow, and the first half in particular took me a long time to get through. And there were definitely moments where I struggled to stay engaged. It's one of those books where not a lot seems to happen on the surface, even though it's clearly laying the groundwork for something much bigger. That said, once I got into the second half, things improved quite a bit. The story started to come together, the stakes became clearer, and I just found myself more invested in what was going on. And the biggest strength of this book is definitely the world building. You can tell that Ted Williams put a lot of effort into creating a rich, lived-in world with history, culture and depth. It feels very detailed and immersive, which is also always something I appreciate in fantasy. On the other hand, the main character, Simon, didn't really work for me. I found him a bit underwhelming, especially for such a long book where I spent so much time in his perspective. And I was hoping for a bit more growth or a stronger personality, but he never quite clicked for me. Overall, I'd say this is a slow but promising start to the trilogy, and the second half was strong enough that I do want to continue, but I'm hoping the sequel picks up the pace a bit earlier. And in second place, I have The Glass Weaver's Tale and Other Stories by Guy Rideau. Next up is a short story collection, which is a nice change of pace compared to a massive fantasy novel. The collection leans heavily into classic science fiction ideas, things like aliens, time travel, alternate realities and the multiverse. So if you enjoy that kind of concept-driven sci-fi, there's definitely something here for you. Overall, I thought this was a very well done short story collection. Some stories work better than others, of course, but I'd say the overall experience was very positive. And the standout for me, without a doubt, is the title story, The Glass Weaver's Tale. And this one really stuck with me. It had a strong central idea and a bit more emotional weight compared to some of the other stories in the collection. It just felt more fully realized, and this one I'll probably remember the longest. But what I liked about the collection as a whole was the variety. You're constantly moving between different ideas and settings, which keeps things fresh. And even when a story didn't completely land for me, it was usually interesting enough to keep me engaged. Short story collections are always a bit tricky to judge because you're not judging a single narrative, but rather a range of different ones. But I think this one was consistently solid, even if it didn't always reach the same highs across the board. Overall, a good collection, especially if you enjoy exploring different sci-fi concepts in a shorter format. And in first place, Flight, the sixth book in the Legend of the Galactic Heroes by Yoshiki Tanaka. Now, this will probably not come as a surprise if you've been following my updates. I am really enjoying this series. Flight is the sixth installment, and at this point I feel very comfortable in this world and with these characters. It's one of those series where each book builds on the last, and you really get a sense of the larger narrative developing over time. This particular entry is a bit slower compared, especially to the previous one, which was much more action heavy and intense, but I didn't mind it at all, because this book feels very much like a setup for bigger events down the line. And what I continue to love about The Legend of the Galactic Heroes is how it balances large-scale conflict with more political elements. It's not just about battles, it's about strategy, ideology, leadership, and the consequences of decisions. The character writing remains its weakest point. I think you definitely need to be a more plot-focused reader to enjoy the series. The two main characters are well realized, but the other side characters are pretty flat. But even when the pacing slows down, it can still feel purposeful. You can see the pieces being moved into place, and it creates a sense of anticipation for what's coming next. And at this point, I'm just fully invested. The series has been very consistent for me so far, and this book was no exception. It might not be the most exciting installment, but it plays an important role in the bigger picture. And I'm just really looking forward to continuing and seeing how everything develops from here. So yeah, that was my March reading wrap up. Only 3 books, but a solid mix and a very enjoyable reading month overall. And sometimes slower months happen, especially with longer books, but I think this was still a good balance between different genres and formats. And let me know what your favorite read of March was. I always like hearing what everyone else has been reading. And if you've read any of these books, definitely let me know your thoughts, especially on the Dragon Ball chair, and whether the sequel improves on that pacing. Thanks for watching, and I'll hope to see you again in the next one.